we need to look at the operations of this company so that we'll be able to look at the downtimes and look at the shortages the government has made in it. That is the essence of this investigation, sir.
Thank you, sir. Do we put the question? Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of 8 bills. I now invite the clerk to read their short titles.
Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, National Library Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Mutual Legal Assistance in Criminal Matters Act Amendment Bill 2022, first reading. Extradition Act Amendment Bill 2022, first reading. National Park Declaration Order 2022, first reading. National Social Investment Program Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Federal Polytechnics Act Amendment Bill 2022, first reading. Essential Drugs, Therapeutic Medical Devices and Hospital Consumables Provision, Management and Utilization in Public Health Institutions in Nigeria Bill 2022, first reading. National Road Transport Council Bill 2022, first reading.
Respected colleagues, the second business of the day is presentation of the report of the Committee on Basic Education and Services on a bill for an act to repeal the National Secondary Education Commission Act, ETC, Act Cap N73, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the National Senior Secondary Education Commission Bill 2021 to prescribe minimum standards for senior secondary education in Nigeria, manage the National Senior Secondary Education Commission Fund, and for little matters, standing in the name of Honorable Julius. Honorable members will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 21st September 2022. The report is ready for presentation. Honorable Julius is invited to present the report.
Mr. Speaker, I remain Professor Julius Ihonvere, representing Onwa Federal Constituency, Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the House do receive the report of the Committee on Basic Education and Services on a bill for an act to repeal the National Senior Secondary Education Commission Act, Cap N73, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and to enact the National Senior Secondary Education Commission Bill to prescribe minimum standards for senior secondary education in Nigeria, manage the National Senior Secondary Education Commission Fund, and for related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Secondary, yes, sir. By sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Priye Oseki. I represent Southern Niger Federal Constituency. I'm from Bayelsa State. I rise to second the motion as moved by Honorable Professor Julius Ihonvere that the House do receive the reports. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Julius, you may go ahead and present your layer report. Respected colleagues, the third business of the day is presentation of 2 reports of the Committee on Culture and Tourism, standing in the name of Honorable Hassan Abdullahi. Honorable Abdullahi is invited to move to present the reports. I thought I saw Honorable Hassan Abdullahi.
Mr. Speaker, it seems Honorable Lalas is out on the floor.
Thank
Just take it down.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please, I would like to step down this report, please. Thank you.
Presentation of report step down by the leader of the House. Respected colleagues, the first order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 607,952,23,518 naira only, of which the sum of 76,569,904,857 naira only is for personal costs, and the sum of 138,851,110 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 393,182,267,614 naira only is for the capital project for the service of the Federal Capital Territory Abuja for the financial year commencing from 1st January and ending 31st December 2022. Standing in the name of the House Leader, all members recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 22nd November 2022. I now invite the leader to move that the bill be read the second time.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, I am Peter, Comrade Peter Ohionzeje Apatasin, MNI. I represent the great people of Akoko Electoral constituency, and I am from Edo State. Chief Whip, I will appeal that you mellow down so time.
Chibu, you should protect the leader.
Okay, please take your seats.
I can't possibly combine the work of the whip and that of the deputy leader. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that a bill for an act to authorize the issue of the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Funds of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account, the total sum of 607 billion 952,023,580 naira only, of which the sum of 76,568,904,857 cover only is for personnel cost, and the sum of 138,899,851,110 naira only is for personnel cost, and the sum of 138 billion 199,851,110 naira only is for the overhead cost, while the balance of 393 billion 182,267,614 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year commencing from 1st of January and ending on 31st December 2022 be now read for the second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Honorable Lekki.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Lekki, this is my name. I represent the good people of Yagba Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. I rise to second the motion moved by Deputy Leader of the House. I so second.
Do we put the question or you want to debate the bill? You want to debate or put the question?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I would like to highlight the major
Thank you.
items here.
Silence, please. Honorable Kalambana, take your seat. Honorable Halims, take your seat. Honorable Distinguished Senator Denjumash, take your seat.
Audience, please. Mr. Speaker, the breakdown of the proposal is as follows for purpose of clarity. The entire budget is broken down to recurrent, expenditure as well as capital expenditure. Now, for the previous year running, 2021, the total personnel cost was at 74,382,813 kobo. Overhead cost for the same year was 67. Chief, we talk to these people now.
Silence, please. Silence, please.
Overhead cost for the same period was 67,173,250,111 naira. The total amounts to 141,632,928 kobo only. And then for the recurring expenditure, actual expenditure rather, we had 2021 74 billion 139 million 912,289.42 kobo, which is 90% of the total expenditure. The overhead cost totaled 78%. Then the total expenditure for the period was 141 billion 196 million 632,924 naira. The actual amounted to 126 billion 877 million 164,033 kobo, which amounts to 90%. Total recurrent and capital for the year, it totals 90 here, and then the capital expenditure is 188 billion 464 million 858,598 kobo. Actual capital 88 billion 253 million 622,858.21 kobo, totaling 47.
Leader, I will please take your seat. Colleagues, I will have to beg you, please, that in our rules, it's not allowed to stay on the aisles, let alone be having discussion. And even when the chief whip is calling your attention, you are refusing to obey. There are consequences when your name is being mentioned. Please, I beg of you. You may continue with this submission.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Now, The 2022 statutory budget of FCT was predicated on some assumptions. One of them is the total the exchange rate for the year, which is 410 USD. Then crude oil benchmark price of $62 per barrel. Crude oil production at 1.88 million barrels per day. Then the gross domestic growth rate at 4.2%. Bearing in mind that because of the global challenges for the period, no much difference has taken place in terms of economic growth and the parameters for these calculations. And so these were the parameters that were adopted, the assumptions rather. Budget proposal has also taken into cognizance the estimated revenue accruing to FCT through the Federation account and internally generated revenue, IGR. When compared with the 2021 appropriation of the sum of 329,491,522, there was an increase of the sum of 277,988,532,058 kobo, which is about 54% of the 222 budget proposal, due to the expected revenue from the following sources. 1, Sukuk loan, 150 billion. Refund of IPPIS, payee tax liability, 14 billion, 246 million, 739 million, 475 kobo. Paris Club refund, 6 billion, 290 million, 283 million, 410 naira only. Refund of liabilities of ground rent, 800 million, just 800 million. The expenditure proposal, the proposed expenditure of the FCT 2022 statutory budget is the sum of 607 billion, as earlier stated, translating to 607.9 billion, translating to a balanced budget. The expenditure breakdown is therefore as follows.
Leader, sir, I think we can take the question.
Well, okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. That's about the last item I was going into.
Thank you, sir.
On the strength of your intervention, I would like to adopt the brief, as presented before the House. Thank you very much.
I should put the question. Wasai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai, and I represent Doko Kwani Federal Constituency of Delta State. I think, Mr. Speaker, the leader of the House submission is virtually the submission of our members of the committee. We are fully in support of the submission of the leader of the House. And it is our duty as member of the committee to also throw more highlight on the bill. It is in that circumstance that I adopt every submission of the leader of the House, and I second the motion for the adoption of this bill. I so second.
Maybe he forgot that he debated it and we're about to put the question. But I'm happy that the opposition are keen in, they appreciate what is being done to the country, so thank you very much. Those in favor that the bill be read second time say aye. Against any, the ayes have it. Clerk is invited to the long title for the bill.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account the total sum of 607 billion naira, 952 million, 23,580 naira only, of which the sum of 76 billion, 569 million, 904,857 naira only is for personnel costs. The sum of 138 billion, 199 million, 851,110 naira only is for overhead costs, while the balance of 393 billion, 182 million, 267,614 naira only is for capital projects for the service of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for the financial year commencing from 1st January and ending 31st December 2022, second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Federal Capital Territory and FCT area councils and ancillary matters. Respected colleagues, the second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish National Civil Research Institute, Badegi, Niger State, to be saddled with the responsibility of training and conducting research on cereals and other agricultural produce to promote cultivation, processing, and exportation of cereals in Nigeria and issue certificates and further matters, standing in the name of Honorable Abdullahi Mahmudu. One members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 4th October 2022, and now invite Honorable Mahmudu to move that the bill be read the second time.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable Abdullahi Mahmudu is not on the floor. I move that the second reading of this bill be stepped down by the leave of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Second reading of the bill stepped down by the leave of the House. Respected colleagues, the third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Corporate and Business Management Affairs and foreign matters, standing in the name of Honorable Genius Ihobire. All members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 4th April 2022, and I invite Honorable Julius to move that the bill be read the second time.
Mr. Speaker, Professor Julius Ihonvere, representing the good people of Owan Federal Constituency, Edo State, arise to move that a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Corporate and Business Management Affairs and for related matters be read a second time. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Please, all honorable members standing in front of the speaker should resume their seat, please. You are distracting the speaker.
Shetima.
Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I am Lawan Shetima Ali, representing Bursari, Gaydam Municipal Federal Constituency. I'm from Yobe State, sir. I rise to second the motion, ably move my senior brother, Prof. I so second, sir.
Honorable Julius, should I put the question? That the bill be read second time. Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Clerk is invited. Bill referred to Committee on Commerce. Clerk, please read the long title of the bill.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. A bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Corporate and Business Management Affairs and for related matters, second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Commerce. The fourth order of the day is
Obanikoro.
commencement of debate on the
Honorable
general
Obanikoro, take your seat.
The fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of a bill for an act to establish a National Commission for Almajiri Education and an act of school children to provide for multimodal system of education to tackle the menace of literacy, develop skill acquisition and entrepreneurship programs, prevent youth poverty, delinquency and destitution in Nigeria, and for little matter, standing in the name of Honorable Shehu Balarabe Kakali and 18 other members. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 20th July 2022. I now invite Honorable Kakali to move that the bill be read the second time. I will still beg you that it is not in our own, it's not decorous for us to continuously be on the aisles. It's not supposed to be so.
Honorable Halim, take your
Please.
seat.
And we should understand that
Honorable Obanikoro.
the soundproof system of this very chamber is not the same with the hollow chamber we are used to. And that's why little communication will be disrupting and interrupting what we are doing. Well, I please beg you to lower your voice as low as possible if you must communicate to colleagues. Please. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Balarabe Shehu Kakali, member representing both Enga and Ngishimito Deferral Constituency. I'm from Sokoto, Birni Shehu. I stand to present a motion for a bill for an act to establish the National Commission for Almajiri Education and out-of-school children to provide for multimodal system of education, to tackle the menace of illiteracy, develop skill acquisition, and entrepreneurship programs, prevent youth poverty, delinquency, and destitution in Nigeria and for related matters. That the bill be read for the second time, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Danjuma, you are so excited today that you don't sit in one place. Please take your seat.
I think the deputy, the whip should not exacerbate what the situation we have found ourselves. I know the two of you are eager to go to the red chambers, but be patient, you are still in the green chambers. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Abakar Abdullah Ahmed, representing Sokoto North Sokoto South Federal Constituency. I am from Sokoto State. I rise to second the motion, the bill to be read for the second time as presented by Honorable Shehu Kakali of Dengeshuni Bodenga Treta Federal Constituency. I so second.
Honorable Kakali, you want to lead the debate or put the question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to lend a voice to this bill by Honorable Kakale and to commend him for having been so passionate about Almajiri students. I remember very vividly last year, him and I worked very closely on the issue of Almajiri, and I commend him for this proactiveness. We worked on this last year, and he has taken the initiative. Anything to do with education, and I want to segue into that. Anything to do with education, this 9th Assembly has been very, 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 very proactive, and it is one of the delights and one of the things that we say about the 9th Assembly, that education has been a priority in our legislative agenda. We noticed by the establishment bills that we have brought, the passion that we have brought into education, even with the Almajiri kids. We have just, we started a 2-day summit on education just yesterday. Many of our members were there, and for those who were not there, I know that many also made submissions and are following very closely. And I want to report to the House and thank the members at the same time for participating fully in this education summit. And I want to report that the education summit is going very well. We've had a lot of contributions, a lot of submissions from far and wide, and we hope, and I hope that at the end of the day, we will make whatever the recommendations from that summit, they will be actionable for us to move our education sector forward. This bill is a subset of our policy and our belief in education in this 9th Assembly. So I commend Honorable Kakale.
I thought Monguno being a very senior legislator, and experienced one for that matter, you should know that. Mr. Speaker,
yes, sir. Mr. Speaker, your point is very well taken and well noted, but because of the topic and the issue, education and Almajiri for that matter, I want to appeal to the chair that we step that issue of hierarchy down. And I'm not even speaking here as a speaker. I'm speaking as Femi Gbajabiamila. If I was speaking as a speaker, I'll be up there. Yeah, so I'm speaking as a speaker. So that issue will not arise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Speaker is always speaker. Yes. But I thought you said from the point of opposition. So you want our children to continue back to school? I don't know. Okay. No.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I also want to commend our Speaker for his disposition in terms of looking at the bill as a bill that can educate our people. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleague, you are aware that 12 years ago, the presidency, as the federal government embarked on making sure that the Almajiri groups are integrated into the educational sectors in terms of building a lot of institutions for them. I agree with this bill. But in agreeing with this bill, Mr. Speaker, it has to be, because this commission tends to propose issues of intervention in our education sector. And if you are making an intervention should have its own gestation period. Because either we are putting it, say, these programs will last for the next 10 or 15 years to bridge the gap. It makes sense. But if the commission is going to be established to run like that forever, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, it will be discriminatory in nature. Because every child is entitled to education and should not be restricted. Now, because every child is entitled to education and shouldn't be restricted, this particular program is an interventionist to bridge the gap. And if it's an intervention to bridge the gap, it presupposes that it has to have a time limit. The laws are made in that way to bridge gap and bring in people who are less educationally have foundations to bridge the gap of people or areas that are educationally bound or advantageous. So it is in the light of this, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, that the gestation period, as we speak it in animal husbandry and in educational sectors, I believe that the gestation period for this commission should last for another 10 or 15 years, so as to bridge the gap and bring in the Almajiris to the terms, so that other parts of the country should be carried along. But if it goes more than that, it will be discriminatory in nature. Thank you.
Well, I want you to look at the long title of the bill. It is very clear. It's not only for Almajiri, but including every other community. And that's why it says Almajiri and out-of-school children, which you have them virtually in all parts of Nigeria. So it's not just for Almajiri, but the entirety of the country. And particularly this is to take care of our brothers who are always on the street, also selling items and then doing other businesses, many petty trading and the rest. Read the log title, it has taken care of everything. And I believe when he brought the bill, that was what we put our head together to say, okay, go and couch it so that it can take every component of Nigeria. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Marte Monguno, Ngenze Federal Constituency of Borno State. Since the leader is not around, I think I have to reply the de facto opposition leader before I proceed.
He is one of our own. Don't be too hard on him.
Okay.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, be that as it may, I want to say that contrary to the submissions made by Honorable Osai, this bill not only seeks to establish the Almajiri schools and schools for out-of-school children, but it also seeks to regulate the nature of education that is being provided, particularly with regard to the Almajiri school system. It is very, very peculiar. Those of us from the north know the content and the curricula that is being provided in the Almajiri schools is different and distinct from the conventional schools. So this is what this bill also seeks to regulate, not only the establishment. Then, Mr. Speaker, I am so passionate to speak about this bill against the backdrop of the fact that yesterday I was privileged to be in the summit, education summit organized by this house, and I have carefully and attentively listened to the various submissions made by the resource persons and the keynote speech delivered by Mr. Speaker. And this bill came at the right time and is very apt and germane to the topic of discussion in the Education Summit. Particularly, one of the issues that was identified in the course of discussion yesterday is that there are about 20 million out-of-school children that need to be made to be part and parcel of our school system. Because so long as we allow about 20 million of our children to be out of school, and majority of them are those that this Almajiri school system seeks to take care of, these 20 million out of school children. So this bill is very relevant and germane to what we have now in the country with regard to out of school children. And I urge my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Right Honorable colleagues, I'm Dachu Musa Bagos, representing the good, great people of Jos South, Jos East Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, this bill coming from a PDP man, brother and colleague from Sokoto, it's still the heartbeat of even us, of a project that the PDP administration started during the time of His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan, because of the importance, seeing that the Almajiri and the out-of-school children, if someone has been able to do his work all through the years, we couldn't have even been at this point now. So it's a bill that we support totally, Mr. Speaker. We are not opposing it, but ours is that once we establish, and once this board is being established, the people that are supposed to do their work, the bill should be able to spell out accurately punishment of those that are supposed to carry out these duties. Because if what has been happening with the UBEC law, that parents that have not taken their children to school,
they have a fine. Nothing has been done. So establishing this, supporting this, we should be able to look at accurately that at this point, let the penalty be spelled out. Let truly what the Ninth Assembly is trying to do to be able to see that actually we'll be able to bring out that the undergraduate students get to school, the children that are out of school should be able to be in school, and I believe that we'll be able to achieve that good mark that we want to do. But for opposition, we support this, we started this, and we want to see that it reach to the end, because it's not about party, it's about to see that the children that need education get education. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, my name is Buluga Dele Kemboju. I represent the people of Okutubupa, the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Ondo State. I would like to start by congratulating my very good friend, Kakali, for this very important bill to address very obvious problems in our society, in our country. And again, I know some of our senior colleagues have spoken in favor of this bill, but I want to express a few concerns I had concerning this bill, and that is the issue of the context of the bill. It is okay to establish a national commission to address the issue of inequalities and access to education. But I want, probably Honorable Kakali will try to throw more light on the Almajiris. As far as I'm concerned, I believe the Almajiris are out-of-school children. And if a commission is established to address out-of-school children, it does not necessarily have to capture Almajiri. There are out-of-school children everywhere in Nigeria. But we understand the significance and the impact of the specific nature of the Almajiris. I believe that the long title does not necessarily have to carry the word Almajiri. If the commission is going to address out-of-school children nationally, then so be it. For specific mentioning of Almajiri, as far as I'm concerned, I think in support of what Honorable Osai has said, is discriminatory. We should not segment, we should not be seen to divide, we should not be seen to describe out-of-school children with any appellation wherever they are in Nigeria. I am in support of establishing a national commission to address out-of-school children wherever they are, including the Almajiris. I think we should, before this commission is even created, not to bring any complexity in the establishment of this commission. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
We'll have you last, then we'll put the question. We have to make progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Amejaha Baba is my name. I represent Chibok, Dambua, and Goza Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I want to personally commend my friend, my sitting partner, Honorable Shehu Kakale from Sokoto, for bringing in this important bill in the history of this country and in the history of 9th Assembly. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I don't want us to put more eyes on the issue of Almajiri. We should look at the long title of the bill and what the bill seeks to cure. Honorable members, if you observe the statistics given by United Nations Agency and Universal Basic Education Board of the out-of-school children in Nigeria, they are two different. In the United Nations Agency's submission is almost 20 million out-of-school children. For the Universal Basic Education is 13.5 million. So you have a reasonable gap of almost 7 million. In other words, the Universal Basic Education emphasized roughly by geographical spread the number of out-of-school children regardless of state of origin. But for the United Nations Agency, they took into cognizance educationally disadvantaged areas and compare it with educationally advantaged areas in the country and got a figure of about 20 million. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, more than 70% of these out-of-school children came from areas where you have Almajiri existence. And if you look at the statistics derived by the mover and the sponsor of the bill, you can understand that areas that has Almajiri has nothing less than 6-digit figure, and areas without Almajiri recorded less than 5-digit figures. I don't want to go into that. But the most important thing which I want to celebrate in this house is the issue of develop skills acquisition and entrepreneurship development programs. We are all aware in this country the remote causes of all the insecurity we have in this country is unemployment, because an idle mind is a devil's workshop. And this bill seeks to provide skills acquisition for not only the Almajiri, but for the out-of-school children, so that they can be out of the street. And they may be given or be provided with some skills so that they can be on their own, so that they can be self-employed, which is the best form of employment. For those of us with human resource background, the best form of employment is for you to be self-employed, Your Excellency. The second one is for you to work in a private sector where scientific management approach will be applied. And the worst is for you to work in a public sector where you have series of underemployment of services. So with this, I call on our colleagues to understand the situation in the country, and the moment we provide solution to this, we are more or less providing solution all over the country. This thing is affecting all the 36 states of the Federation, but it varies from a state to a state. We thank you very much for listening, and we thank you very much for your support.
Thank you.
Sir.
The question now is that the bill be raised contempt. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish National Commission for Almajiri Education and Out-of-School Children, provide for a multimodal system of education to tackle the menace of illiteracy, develop skill acquisition and entrepreneurship programs, prevent youth poverty, delinquency, and destitution in Nigeria, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee on Basic Education and Services. The Speaker, fifth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principle of bill for an act to establish Federal College of Medical Laboratory Science, Soba, Kaduna State, and for related matters. Standing in Honorable Ibrahim Hamza, honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 1st February 2022. I now invite Honorable Hamza to move that the bill be read the second time. Honorable Hamza is not on the floor. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, it seems Honorable Ibrahim Hamza is not on the floor. I move that the second reading of this bill be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Second reading of the bill stepped down by the leader of the House. Respected colleagues, the sixth order of the day is a motion on discharge of committee on referrals on bills pursuant to Order 17, Rule 3G of the Standing Order of the House of Representatives, standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Honorable Fulata is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Plenary Agriculture Samaguri Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, discharge of committees on reference on bills pursuant to Order 17, Rule 3G of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. House notes that the following bills were separately read a second time and referred to various committees of the House for decisive action, namely Pension Reform Act Amendment Bill 2022, House Bill 2025, Nigerian Military Academy, Igboeze, Enugu State Defense Establishment Bill 2021, House Bill 1573, Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Ado Odo Ota Ogun, Health Institutions State Establishment Bill 2021, House Bill 1763. House is aware that the committees are yet to present reports on the bills, contrary to provisions of Order 17, Rule 3G of Standing Orders of House of Representatives, to wit, any matter referred to any committee shall be treated within 30 days. Otherwise, the committee shall stand discharged after 60 days, and the matter committed to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. House resolves to discharge the committees above mentioned from the bills referred to them and commit same to the Committee of the Whole for reconsideration. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder, Honorable Jaha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I'm Jaha Baba once again, Chibok Dambo Goza Federal Constituency. I rise to second a motion ably moved by the Chairman House Committee on Rules and Business, Honorable Plata. I so second. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Zakari, second the motion.
I stand second the motion as heavily moved. I so second.
The motion moved by who? Want to know him? Thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. The seventh order of the day is a motion on need to complete the construction of a DNA Abai called Ikan Etinan road project standing in the name of Honorable and Ken Umama or Umana was invited to move the motion.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my name is Niekan Umana, member representing the unique people of Abak, Itimewika Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from the vibrant state of Akwa Ibom. Mr. Speaker, I come with a motion on the need to complete the construction of a Dienabak Ikorekan, a Tinan Road project. The House notes that the 8.3 kilometers Ediana, Abak, Ikorekan, Etinan Road is a major link between Abak, Etinan, and other local government areas in Akwa Ibom State. The House recalls that in 2012, the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, awarded a contract for the reconstruction of that road, but was abandoned after minor earthworks at the Abak Ediana end of the road.
concerned that the deplorable state of the road has hampered intrastate transportation system between Abak and Etina local government areas, and indeed the socio-economic livelihood of the people in the area. Informed that some miscreants and other criminal elements have taken advantage of the deplorable state of the road to rob innocent commuters and citizens of their hard-earned valuables without any form of resistance. Mr. Speaker, the House resolves to urge the NDDC to urgently ensure that work resumes at the site of the project, and to mandate the committee on the NDDC, Niger Delta Development Commission, to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
My brother from Abia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Sam Ono Ibo. I represent the good people of Ikua, North and North and South Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Omana. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. The eighth order of the day is a motion on need to condemn attacks on offices and facilities of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Standing Honorable Oluga Otayo. Oluga is invited to move the motion. Yes, Obanikoro. What do you mean, Oluga?
Sorry, I was looking to second her when she finishes.
Honorable Tai, go ahead and present a motion.
Okay. Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Honorable Taiwo Oluga is my name. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Osun State, Irewole Ayedade Ishokan Federal Constituency. Rise this afternoon.
What I mean, Honorable Oluga?
Yes, sir.
They are not being, and they are trying to waste our legislative time. What is before that members have come to complain? Honorable Bagos, I don't know if he's here. He has presented a similar motion or the same motion with the same prayers, and the motion has been referred to committee on electoral matters. What we are waiting for is the report of the committee.
Oh, really?
So, I don't know whether you are aware, but I've asked them to come up with the motion. But the truth of the matter, yes, a similar motion has already been taken, and what we are waiting for is report. So we cannot be duplicating the same thing. I want to beg of you to kindly step down because of the observation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
I hereby step down the motion.
Subhanallah.
Chairman, Financial Crimes. Chairman, Tertiary Education. Take your seats.
Thank you. Well, we'll do the clearance. There's rules and business will do the clearance more. If there's need for you to come back to come and take a motion again, we'll give you the opportunity. But for now, because of the observation, we beg to step down the motion for further legislative action. Thank you. The ninth order of the day is a motion on need to investigate the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, (NIT), and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission for lopsided recruitment, employment standing in the name of Ibrahim Mohammed Hafiz Kawu. Honorable Kawu is invited to move the motion. Honorable Kawu, couldn't you have gone to federal character instead of coming up with the motion? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. my honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Hafiz Kawu, OON, representing the good people of Tarauni Federal Constituency. By the grace of God, I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, the motion on the need to investigate Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative and the Nigeria Upstream Regulatory Commission for lopsided recruitment/employment. The House note that the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission are guided and regulated by the laws of the Federal Republic. Also notes that the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission are guided and compiled with the federal character in all recruitment or employment. Aware that the Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, NATI, and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission have embarked on multiple recruitment/employment. Also aware of the public outcry that the recruitment/employment has been concentrated on a particular state/region of the country without recourse to the principle of federal character, fairness, equity, and justice. Resolved to urge the Nigerian Extractive Transparency Initiative and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission to cancel the recruitment, employment if found short of the federal character observance and conducted in tandem with federal character regulation. Mandate the committees on petroleum upstream and federal character to investigate the lopsidedness of the recruitment/employment process of NATI and NUPRC and report back within 3 weeks. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder first before amendment. Honorable Boni.
Madam Alkali, OON, representing Bassa, Jos North Federal Constituency. Bassa Federal Constituency of Plateau State. I second the motion moved by Honorable Hafiz Kawu. I so second.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. They have it. Respected colleagues, the 10th order of the day is resumption of consideration of a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service to prevent, combat forest crimes and enhance security within the Nigerian forest and forest matters. Honourable members will recall that on Wednesday, 20th July, the House Committee of the Whole considered the clauses 1 to 22 and deferred further consideration of the bill to enable the Chairman Committee on Rules and Business, Interior, Environment and National Security and Intelligence examine the provisions of the bill vis-a-vis other Eastern laws. I now invite the Chairman Committee on Rules and Business to move that the House resume consideration on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Sanfulata. I represent the new Agricultural Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move the House resume consideration of the report on a bill for an act to establish Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Service to prevent and combat forest crimes and enhance security within Nigerian forests and for related matters. House Bill 1993. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder to the motion. Yes, it is.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Kabir Idris, and I represent the very good people of Kura, Madobi, Garumal, and Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Kano State, and I rise to support this very important bill, heavily moved by my elder brother, Honorable Flatter. I so support, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Respected colleagues, the 13th order of the day is constitution of two reports. 11th? The 11th order of the day is constitution of a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Forensic Science in Ile, Akwara State, and to make comprehensive provision for its due management and administration and following matters. Honorable members recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, 4 October 2022. The leader will move for its consideration. Fulata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Fulata. I represent Buniwa Krika Samaguli Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that the House do consider a report on a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Forensic Science in Ile, Kwara State, to enable comprehensive provision for its due management and administration and related matters. House Bill 1754. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Once again, my name is Honorable Kabir Idris, and I represent the very good people of Kura, Madobi, Garumal, and Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I'm from Kano State, and I rise to support this very important bill, heavily moved by my elder brother again, Honorable Flatter. I so support, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. You are the one to ask me to step down, not from here. Thank you. The 12th order of the day is consideration of a report of the Committee on National Security and Intelligence on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Nigerian National Commission against proliferation of small arms and light weapons, to coordinate and implement activities to combat the problem of proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria, in line with Economic Community of West African States Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons and for other matters. Honorable members will recall the report was laid on Tuesday, 21st July 2022. On which Avan will move for its consideration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Shaban Ibrahim Sharada, representing the good people of Kano Municipal Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kano State. I rise to move a motion to urge the House to consider that the House do consider the report on the Committee on National Security and Intelligence on a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Nigeria National Commission against proliferation of small arms and light weapons, to coordinate and implement activities to combat the problems of proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria, in line with the Economic Community of West African States Convention on Small Arms and Light Weapons, and for related matters, HB 10, and approve the recommendation therein laid 21st of July 2022. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, before you move, I have discussed with Honorable Shaban. There is a contradiction between the bill and an existing bill that has been passed at the third reading. Accordingly, I'm moving that this bill be stepped down by the leave of the House for further consultation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Well, I hope, Honorable Shaban, I hope you heard him very well. Thank you. So, consideration of this bill stepped down by the leave of the House. The 12th order of the day is consideration of the report on the committee on, 13th order of the day is consideration of two reports of the Committee of Health Institution on Pascal Obi. Will move for their consideration. I will pray.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Priye Oseke. I represent Southern Niger Federal Constituency. I'm from Bayelsa State. With the leave of my chair, Honorable Pascal Obi, I rise to move that the House do consider the report on the Committee of Health Institutions on the bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, O2 Jeremy, and for related matters, House Bill 402, and approve the recommendations therein. And also, the House do consider the reports of the Committee of Health Institution on the bill for an act to provide legal framework for the establishment of Federal Medical Center, Oweyan, Delta State, and for related matters, House Bill 989, and approve the recommendations therein. I so move.
Babadini. Honorable Goro. Honorable John Day. Honorable Goro. Thank you. Yes, Babadini.
Thank you very much, our quintessential speaker with substantial values. I'm Honorable Ibrahim Ayokuni Isiaka. I speak for and on behalf of the very good people of Ifoeweko Federal Constituency, the Speaker, distinguished honorable members, I'm from Ogun State. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to second the motion on the bills for that the House will consider the report of the Committee on Health Institutions for bill as stated on number 13 and number 14. Mr. Speaker, I so second. Thank you very much, sir.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. Fulata move that the House will dissolve into Committee of the Whole consider reports. Fulata. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Bernio Akrika Samaguli Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker. I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move that the House do dissolve into Committee of the Whole to consider reports. I so move, Mr.
Speaker. I would not call a noisemaker to contribute on the floor. Yes, sir. Tijani.
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, I remain Tijani Kayode Ismail. I rise to second the motion heavily moved by the Chairman Rules of Business. I so second.
Colleagues, those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. House is served in the Committee of the Whole to consider report. Respected colleagues, the first bill to be considered is for an act to establish the Nigerian Hunters and Forest Security Services to prevent, combat forest crimes, and enhance security within Nigerian forests and for little matter. Now I invite the leader to give the sense of the report.
Mr. Chairman, this bill was considered on the 23rd or on the 20th of July 2022, but the House adjourned consideration because the committee
Comsol. Jaha. Thank you.
The House commenced consideration of this bill on the 20th of July 2022 and adjourned consideration to allow committees on rules of business, security, interior to cross-check against other existing acts for contradictions. We're able to do so, Mr. Chairman, and we found out that there is no contradiction with existing acts. Consideration stopped at clause 20. Accordingly, we can proceed consideration of this report from clause 23. As also submit, Mr. Chairman.
We'll start from where? Continue from where?
23, clause 23, sir.
Clause 3, 24? 25? 26? 27? Citation. Explanatory memoranda. 26? Fulata, you are sure I did a good job? 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, schedules, explanatory memoranda, long title. Thank you. Let's probably the second bill to consider is for an act to establish Federal University of Forensic Science in Ile, Kwara State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration. And for the matter, now I invite the leader to give the synopsis of the bill.
Mr. Chairman, the sponsor of this bill is on the floor. I would like to seek the leave of the House to allow Honorable Kaede to do the synopsis. Honorable Kaede.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. I don't have much to say on this bill, other than to say the bill is a unique one, and it's going to be first of its kind in the country and Africa at large. Indian Parliament signed Forensic Science University into law in 2019 for the first time. And this bill is going to be of help to our investigative, and it's going to be an instrument of investigation, and it's going to enhance knowledge for our security agencies in this country and other people that have interest in learning forensic science. We only have Institute of Forensic, this is Chartered Institute of Forensic Science. We need to have institutions that will train our people to have the knowledge, because I want to make it known to the House that
Ismail, you are not on the general principle now. What we are on is the extract of what has been given out in the law.
Okay.
So you are trying to bring us back again.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for guiding me. Sir, this bill is going to be of importance and is going to be useful to the country at large.
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Speaker.
Plus 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 5, plus 6, plus 7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11, 12, 13 to 17, 18 to 26, 28, plus 28. The schedules. Thank you. Explanatory memoranda, long title. Explanatory memoranda. Thank you. Ismail, say thank you to them. They have given. Thank you. Thank you. Respected colleagues, the first report to be considered for Committee on National Security, this one will be stepped down. Thank you. The second report to be considered, or the first one to be considered, is that of Committee on Health Institutions on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, or to Jeremy, and for those matters. And I invite Honorable Pascal. Pray.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, honorable colleagues. I wish to plead with members to consider this bill and approve all the recommendations therein. We are all aware of the health challenges that our country, the challenges in our health sector, in the report. Thank you, Honorable.
9 to 17, 18 to 23, plus 24, 25 to 28, 28 to 30, 31 to 39. Explanatory memoranda, long title. Thank you very much. He has already given us a synopsis of this other one. It has to do with Federal Medical Establishment Act. I don't know. Khalid? Plus 1, 2 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 28. The schedules, explanatory memoranda, long title. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Mr. Chairman, I am Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent the new Africa Samaguli Federal Constituency, Mr. Chairman. I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I move that the House do revert to plenary